Hey, Jason, welcome to Timelines.
Hey, well, thanks for having me on the show today, Bill.
What's the weather like in Texas right now?
It is actually really nice. Today it's supposed to be 65 degrees.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, that's, all week it's going to be in the 60s. So I can't complain. That's why I live down here.
Well, it's been snowing a lot here in the upper foothills of Reno on the east side of the Sierras. And today we have rain for the first time in a while, but it's snowing probably up
Wow.
above us, about 1,000 feet above us.
Wow.
But yeah, it's nice. It's warm. I'm in short sleeve shirts. I'm not in my sweatshirt. So we had some high winds last night. Hey, we're going to start a little different today. People already know about you because I read about all the things that you're doing.
Yep.
But you're struggling at something I'm struggling at, creating that first digital course. I got a feeling, right?
Yeah, it's been a challenge, and partly it's been a challenge to find the technology to utilize it, and then actually producing something that I think is going to be of quality, and also balancing as my business is growing significantly and trying to fit all that in and figuring out, how do I take time away from building a course versus actual income coming in from me doing sales leadership training and my business and executive coaching. So it's been delayed more than I want it to be, but it's going to be worth it in the end.
So in 1994, you got a master's in communications from Syracuse?
Yeah, and a law degree. Yes.
Oh, and a law degree?
Yep, simultaneously.
Oh, congratulations. Did you use that law degree?
I did not use it in the real world, but I did use it in school. I had some internships and did some other things. So
one of our good friends from North Shore in Massachusetts got a law degree, never used it, but built a multi-million-dollar construction company.
Well, that's great. See, I mean, the ABA has a whole program for people that are doing non-legal careers. So a lot of people exit the profession over time.
Yeah, it's really good basis to have.
Yeah.
So tell us what your struggles are with this course. How come this course isn't done? You said you've got other things, your business is expanding. What's happening?
It's just time. A lot of time, right? Because right now what I found is that I'm getting a lot more time in my business. People want to get more coaching. One of the things that I was at a premise on was that it would be really much easier for me to go into a corporation and sell coaching to all of the top line executives, as well as kind of helping them with the next phase of their transformation. And I had a premise on this, but this was probably, fall of 2014, and I didn't have a client in mind and I had nowhere to go after. So I've been working on this project, and it's been building up with one of my clients into where I'm doing a coaching, probably like 12 to 14 people now, doing sales leadership training and helping them with the entire sales transformation inside of their own company and, and the corporate level as well. So it's a fantastic opportunity, and it'd be much easier if this will go through by the end of the year, because then I can pick this up and market it, as well as they're owned by a huge private equity company. So then there's opportunities for me to help in other organizations that they have as well. So part of that was, and then it was easier for me to sell, because I'd rather just focus on coaching and doing other things rather than having to have one-off clients. It's much easier if I can aggregate people in one place, I found, because they can integrate with each other, talk to each other. They can really see the benefits much easier, and it's way easier to sell my services. Like now in the company I have, I literally had to do nothing to get, the 12 clients I have starting now at all.
So you have 12 clients now.
Well, inside this one company.
Oh, inside the company. So what is your ideal, well, they call it avatar. So who is your client?
It would be a VP level and above in a corporation. I work with a lot of C-level people. I'd also say entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs making, at the bottom, probably $250,000 and upwards. I have a client of mine now has $100 million business. Because a lot of the challenges is that I can help people do is help get to the next phase. I can help them make money. I can help them get unstuck. But part of that means you've got to go out and meet people, go to conferences, network, and do a lot of other things. And if you don't have the capital, you can't really do that. So you're not going to be able to utilize the things that I'm doing. Also, you have to have a big enough problem in your life when it comes to your business side of things that are going on. Like if you're a vice president, the leap up is pretty significant. So I can really make a significant impact in helping someone get to the next level in their career. And they're ready for it and usually hungry for it. Now, as well, some of my clients come to me and their personal lives are in tatters, right? I have clients of mine who come to me whose who have challenges in their personal life, like their marriages aren't going well, they're not happy with their social life, something is really impacting it. And the reality is, if you're running a business or a company, every person that's underneath you, their personal lives are your business. Because if they come to work or in your business and they're not happy in their personal lives, it's going to impact the bottom line. And it could cost you hundreds of thousands or tens of millions of dollars if they're not in the right place. And I don't think most business owners really think like that, but that's the reality of it. I mean, anyone going to work every day knows they don't leave a nice little bag outside the front door for their business or personal life when they walk into their business, right? Whether it's a virtual one or you actually go into someplace.
So Jason, what's the number one challenge you see your clients have when you work with them? And what's the first thing you want to do when you have a new client? That's probably a better question.
Well, I want to tell them how to actually start to create change in their life, because the conversation of understanding how to create change, we've talked through their family history, what's gone on since they were growing up, what are the patterns that are really going. I'm really good at helping them do that, because the reality is people's blind spots they can't see, so they can't really identify it themselves. And the patterns that have gone on when they have been a child, like 7 to 10 years old, are the same patterns that are holding them back right now. And
hey,
so
Jason, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to restart. Your sound is so good now compared to that scratching I had. I mean, it's perfect. I'm going to restart because it was 5 minutes of scratching.
Okay.
I caught that. I've never seen that quite in a button that bad. I'm going to redo the interview. Start it if you don't mind, because it'll save me a ton of time.
Yeah, that's fine.
It'll be good.
Okay.
Jason, welcome to the real timeline. We're back on, and we had a 5-minute test start, and we're back. So, Jason, tell us about you and your business and what you do.
Well, I'm a business and executive coach, and I work with people on getting them unstuck, gaining clarity in their life, really claiming their own power, and then, leading in their life and taking it to the next level. And a lot of that has to do with the relationship with themselves first, and then they're building relationships with other people, both on a personal level and a professional level.
Very good. Now, for the listener out there on iTunes, you can go back and catch the pre-show on YouTube at Timelines of Success, or go to Timelines Netcast, and you'll hear how we did the show. And Jason's mic was touching a button and was making a little bit of noise. So instead of going back and re-editing it, we restarted. So Jason got a good practice shot here. I'm running a little late. We had a big storm here in Reno last night, and it's raining outside and a lot of wind. It's 65 degrees in Texas, a little different weather. So yes. I'm really pleased to have you on today. So you're challenged with something I'm challenged with too. Before we go into your story and your background and what you do, you're in the process right now of creating an online course. You have a degree in communications and also a law degree.
Yes.
But what's it like trying to create an online course? What are your challenges?
It's really difficult because my business is in a state of a lot of growth, and there are money coming in through my coaching business, and finding the time to, one, do the course right now is a real challenge, because I'm now having to outsource other things as well along with it. So fitting the time in to do all that has become a huge challenge, right? And it's a high quality problem to have, because I'm having a lot of success in my business overall. But ultimately, that course is something that's going to be, I think, a significant revenue generation for me. So just fitting the time in and finding it is hard, but also the technology, right? Because it's hard to find a platform, because the platforms people are using, they're cobbling them together, and it's causing a lot of challenges in managing the customer flow and communication with them, as well as taking money and doing everything else along with it. So I find that's a real big problem with people, and just getting the technology up and running and finding something that's pretty seamless that you can add people to in a way that doesn't take away from your other activities, and it's more streamlined. And so I was looking around for a while, and I was talking before, I found this, product Zippy courses, and I've got, no stake in it at all, but I found it was really useful and the best course building product that I've seen out there. It seems pretty seamless and easy, and relatively inexpensive to buy and utilize. And so I'd recommend people to at least consider checking it out.
Well, it's like a couple $100 a year for the plugin to maintain it and service it, and I think they have a premium course too, which is $300. So I can feel your pain. It really is tough to break away and get the time. you'll get something done and then you'll go back. It's hard to start and stop when you do something, like one thing at a time, but you do have an ongoing business, an ongoing consulting business, and that's your main business. So that building the course online is really secondary.
It is right now. I mean, over time that might switch, but right now this is where it's coming in. So, and I also wanted to, I wrote a book that's been a #1 bestseller, Social Wealth, and I have another book, and it's about 3/4 of the way done. But even finding the time to do the next 25% now is a huge challenge, because the problem is with the book is it's not a money making thing. I mean, a nonfiction book for people, it takes Herculean effort. You have to be super well known to make money where it's really worth the time to do it, and take that much time offline. Because I figure for me, in order to do that book, it's going to take me at least probably 2.5, 3 weeks to finish what I need to do, to get it off to an editor, then to get, major line edits back, and then spend a few more weeks after that getting it to the shape of the book that I'd want, and be something that I think would be of high quality for people.
Yeah, writing really takes commitment. If you're going to be a writer, I talk to writers all the time, and they say your family has to understand that I have to go into isolation. I have to work late at night sometimes. When I have when my thought is going, I can't stop. I've got to continue on. I've got to write every day. Some days I write and I throw it away, but it's a tough life business, and your family has to understand that you have to focus to get it done. I think building a course is the same way. So tell us a little bit about your business and how you select clients, or who are your clients?
So my clients are typically a vice president level and above in a corporate setting. And for an entrepreneur, is someone with $250,000 and up. I have one of my clients now is $100 million business. And they come to me because they're stuck in their life. Something is not going right? They may want to get to another level in their career. Their business may be plateauing. They perhaps have had a financial event. I have clients now that are selling their businesses and they don't know what to do. I have another business where I'm working with a chairman who he has founded the company and it's like, what do I do next, right? And what happens is the alternative, if you don't know where you're going and don't have a plan, what people do is they go into the negative sphere where there's drinking, drugs, affairs, gambling, negative things that pull them away and create a place for them to take a major nosedive down in their life. And so if people don't get me before that time, that's what happens. And some people get me when they're at their rock bottom, or some people get me beforehand, right? But whatever it is, it's something is not going right in their life and they want to reach out and talk to me.
Very good. So we talked earlier about how you found your clients. You say you go to conferences. What do you think? Is that one of the best ways to find clients?
It's a fantastic way to find clients, and also I think investment opportunities as well. And I think the higher quality the conference, meaning you're going to pay more for it, the more opportunities come because you get to weed out a lot of people. So for instance, like if you go to TED conference, right, in Vancouver, it's expensive conference. There's another one, 99U, which is in May. There's a place called Dent the Future that's in March. There's a bunch of conferences throughout the year. I mean, there's a lot of other ones too that are for entrepreneurs or executives or other people, and those give you great opportunities to meet some fantastic people. Like my client last year went to TED. He ended up meeting Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, Bill Gates. He got to meet his childhood hero through a networking person he met, Richard Branson. I think now investments that he'll end up making out of it within the next 24 months probably are anywhere between probably on the low side, 300 million, to the upside, probably 700 million for an under $10 million investment. So that's pretty significant. And this, and the amount of people he met, and he's now on the board of TEDx, reforming all the TEDs across the world. And this is, going to one conference, right? So, and he's going back this year, and I have two of my other clients are going this year, and I'm helping them sort of figure out how to do all this, and create some magic in their life. And so it's very exciting and it's a great opportunity. And last year I just had a theory about this, and I just, put the theory into practice, and my client executed it in a fantastic way.
So do you know of any good conferences up in Tahoe, Reno that I can go to?
The Bay Area, yes. but I'll have to think about like what specific ones. Nothing in the top of my head that's coming up right now, but I'll have to think about it. I'll take a look at my list of things that I work on my clients with.
Well, yesterday I interviewed Dr. Michelle, and she said there's a big doctors conference coming up at California City, which is state line. And I was just up there. So maybe in my own backyard, I should pay attention especially about communications. Since you have a degree in communications, what we're doing is a new kind of communications.
Yes.
And this is your first blab, right?
It is my first blab.
Congratulations. This is a great platform. When we finish up this first section here, I'll tell you what we're doing is this is a live net feed. We've had a few folks come on and off 11. We have a live audience and it's kind of fun. And then it goes into being a blog, of course, goes right up to YouTube. So within a half hour, but when we're done here, the whole thing will be on YouTube. Then tonight I'll edit it and turn it into a podcast, which will go on iTunes and Stitcher Radio. So it goes all sorts of different places. Now, the negative on that is maybe the numbers aren't huge in any one place, but about 400 people will probably listen to this in the next, 30 days at some point, which is a lot of folks.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Plus, it's evergreen. Fantastic. You can go back and use parts of it and bits of it. So this new communication system is really changing the world. Any last thoughts about how you might have your clients use some of these new communication processes?
I think that one of the things is you've got to figure out who it is you want to target to go after. I think if you can only manage so many people. And my rule of thumb is on the aggressive side, you could probably start to communicate regularly with about 20 people, influencers, if that's what you want to do. And then have a universe of 100 other people that you could communicate with on a quarterly level where you'd send them some sort of update that's pretty generic, but you could email it out to them and then, communicate with them and see what's going on. And I think that's a really great way to do it. But I think that if you can go to conferences and places like this, that's the easiest way because you have dedicated time that you're spending time with people that you don't get interrupted from other things. And to build a relationship, it has to be face-to-face. You're not building a relationship online. What you're doing online is connecting with someone. And the point of online communication is to get them offline. And if you're not doing that, you're not using the communication tool. LinkedIn is used to communicate, to get people offline. It's the same thing with Facebook or anything else, any communication tool. And I find that's the biggest problem is people stay online. And I'm like, no. That's why these conferences, people are killing it, right? People are making, why you go to TED is you're getting to the top people in the entire world. People that will give you everything if you know how to operate. Why would you not go pay the money? But the reason people don't is they're thinking, well, I don't want to pay, $7,500 to go to a conference and do that. And I'm like, okay, well, what are you spending your money on? Like, what are you doing? Are you investing in the stock market? Well, this last week, almost all my friends who didn't pull their money out like they should have are getting killed, right? So this is what you do, right? And I've got a bunch of friends on Wall Street that I met at conferences and other stuff. And, mid-December, I got a report saying go cash, right? And so I haven't been invested in the market in, probably a month.
Very good, Jason. So with that, we're going to go to a break. I'm going to come back and ask you another follow-up question on TED. Jason, I'm on a roll today. This is not my normal day, and I didn't take a break. So I'm going to take a break here so I can find this. Hey, some days are different, but I am on a roll today, Jason. We're back from the break. And, right now we're going to go over your life success and leadership principles, but I want to ask you something about TED. It's funny. I've known about TED, early on since I was in research programs, but I never looked up TED and really understood the history of TED. And you just told me a little bit about it. So, wow. It used to be in Long Beach and started in Southern California. And now it has moved permanently up to Vancouver, and it's once a year. So they release. Wow. So your clients have actually, your most successful clients have gone up to TED, to the conference. How long is the conference?
It's basically all week long.
Wow.
They have some pre-events and stuff like this you can go to, and it's people stay there for 5-6 days. Some even longer. Can
anyone go to it?
Yeah, you have to apply online and be accepted. And then, obviously it's expensive. It's, $7,500 to go. So it's not and that's not including, hotel, airfare. And also at a place like that, you got to be prepared to spend a little bit of money too.
I never knew what TED stood for. It's technology, entertainment, and design. I love it.
Yep. Yeah.
Wow.
It's a fantastic, you're rubbing shoulders with the who's who of technology and, entertainment. People are there. So it's a lot of well-known people go to this. It's not some conference where you're, going to go to a typical one. I mean, you're going to see some really well-known people and have a chance to interact with them. And you can't talk about your business when you're there either. It's really frowned upon. So you've got to have conversations about life or other things when you're talking to people, and not lead with your business. So it's a great thing, and they set up dinners all the time, and so it's a great opportunity to meet people in a variety of settings throughout the week.
There are some other organizations popping up. STEAM is one, which is collegiate across the United States. STEAM stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. And there's another company who approached me, who is owned partially by Dr. Nicholas Hernandez, called STEM and then STEAM. STEAM puts art into it. So I think they're trying to compete, but this TED was really nice. Thanks for pointing that out. And I see how the type of clients and the people you're around, and that's a good place. So you probably want your clients, the people who go to TED are the people you want to target, not target, but the people you want to work with.
Yeah. I mean, they're definitely a target to go after. So
that's really niching it down. That's really neat. So we're going to go into your life success leadership principles. And the first one is change starts from inside. What does that mean to you?
Well, people can't see their own blind spots, and that creates problems because you have survival patterns that you get into that you learn from the time that you're small growing up. And we model everything after our parents and adults as we're growing up because we're a blank slate. And at that point in our life, those people are like gods to us. And so what happens is that those patterns get ingrained with what we're doing. And at some point in our life, they cause us some major problems. They end up holding us back. And that's typically what I find is those patterns manifest itself in several different ways, depending on the person. And they end up really causing them to hold them back, both personally and professionally. And so you have to life's about pattern recognition. And when you can do that, you can make some monster breakthroughs really quickly, because it's usually at that point minor shifts in what's going on. It's not some major changes, and those minor shifts will give you massive lift.
Very good. Very good. Number 2, your life and business successes come down to relationships.
Well, everything we do in life is with or through other people. I mean, no one created a business and made $1 billion on a mountaintop by themselves. I mean, the money has to come from somewhere. So building great relationships with people is a hallmark in our life. And that is both an art and a science to understand how to do that. And if you're not doing that consistently and meeting new people and consistently investing in relationships, that will really come back to haunt you. That's why I have clients come to me all the time that have marriages that are falling apart. And the reality is they treat it like a house that they don't fix up ever. Right? They don't invest into it. And so what happens is, if anyone out there is a house or home or even an apartment, if I told you for the next 10 years you couldn't do anything inside of there, you would tell me that's crazy. And I'd say to you, well, that's how people treat their marriages today. And that's why 90% of people are not happy or are not in the marriage that they should have in their life.
Wow. That's depressing.
Well, it's just, you have to start being much more proactive in managing it in a way like you would your own business, setting up times where you can do things with that person and scheduling it in. Because the reality is, when you date someone, you're all invested and they become this massive priority in your life, and other things take a back seat. Well, you can't operate like that on a consistent basis throughout your entire life. So you have to learn new skill sets and become much more creative about how you interact with your partner in your life.
And you said creative, and the next one is creativity is the only unique thing you will contribute into the world. Creativity.
Yeah. I mean, creativity is massively important, and creativity isn't, when you think about, ART, right? Because I was told people when they wanted to be creative that, like, I have a job. I can't afford to be creative and paint and sit out there and write soliloquies and all these other crazy things that people talk about when they do art, right? Or go and dance around and play music. Like, I have to make money in my business. But the reality is that being creative is really about being innovative in anything you have. And so the challenge is with that is that putting your work out in the world will get people to say some negative things on you. And being able to do that and make money off it is really challenging for people who have to live like that, because they've got to live through criticism. You have to live through some pretty rough time when you might hear crickets chirping in the background. And to persevere through that and doing that is really difficult. But at the end of the day, that's how we make our unique footprint in the world. It's all of us have gifts that to give to the world. But the challenge is most people give up before their gifts are seen by people. And doesn't mean you have to, be a best-selling author, or you have to do some fantastic thing that billions of people see. But your footprint could be in your community. It could be, helping people throughout the world, whatever it might be, but it's out there and you need to untap that resource and start to really figure out what that is.
So one thing that I can see is contrary to that is in manufacturing and some businesses, the way they make money is by doing the same thing over and over and over. They've got to find something that's repeatable, that makes money, that they can repeat over and over, unless you're Apple. Unless you're Apple, they're one of the most creative companies going, but a traditional manufacturer is producing something over and over, or a service company.
Yeah, I guess, but there's always ways to innovate on that stuff. Maybe innovate on the service side of the business, right? There's always pieces that you can innovate, even in something. If you're selling nails, there's ways to innovate with nails, right? There's always things that you can take to the next level of how you think about that, right? Maybe you start advertising on Pinterest. Maybe you start doing something in a new way. Maybe you go out and work with, helping people build homes, right? There's a lot of things you can do that's innovative and creative, right? It doesn't have to be something that's, innovative and creative doesn't mean you have to be cutting edge. It means you have to just be doing something different that puts you outside of your comfort zone.
And there's so much change. This platform, for example, that can be applied to almost any business in some aspect.
Exactly.
So finally, let's see, you got a long one here. Vulnerability, authenticity, vulnerability, and generosity. Are your receipts for the ultimate business?
Yeah, I think that when the key thing is when you're vulnerable, authentic, you speak your truth, and then you're generous within boundaries, you are extremely powerful as an individual. Because that's when you can go up to people and lead in front of people, right? I was at a sales conference, and the CEO of a company that I've been working with a while stood up in front of people and said, he was talking about how they need to increase sales, and part of their processes really need some innovation on it. And to stand up before people and tell people that without giving them a solution, I'll show you a leader that's done his work and is actually a true leader, because when you tell a group of people that, you're allowing them to actually give you input and be part of the process. Almost every leader, what they do is they tell you the problem and then they tell you the solution. And the problem there is they don't really want your feedback, because they've already thought about it and gotten the feedback from the people that matter. And so reality is that rest of the company or organization or the people they're talking to, they're just letting you know about what they're doing. It's not a true communication process, two-way communication. And I think that's, a fantastic way. And I think when you can do that also, you can deal with conflict better. You can deal with a wider range of people. You can be more empathetic with people instead of just sympathetic, which is a huge difference in how you interact with people. So all that recipe for people is extremely important. And especially when you're dealing with people at the top echelon, because like if you go to a conference like TED, people are worried about, what do you want from me? What are you taking? And if you're the person who can embody those qualities, you can kill it there, because you stand out and there's almost no one like you. That's why my client who went there absolutely had an amazing time, right? And he had never gone to an event like that. He's an extrovert, but he has some introverted qualities, right? So he's not some guy who's going to constantly work the room with utter ease and meet everyone at that point. But the reality is, because he showed up being that person, it was way easier for him to be successful, because people there want to meet that type of person. And there's just so few people like that they meet on an everyday basis.
Well, Jason, with that, we're going to go to a break and then come back and find out how the listener can find you. And you'll tell us one last commercial about your business. Well, Jason, we're back from the break, and we're going to ask you one last question. But before we do that, we're going to give you an opportunity to tell the listener how they can get a hold of you and give us a little commercial about your business.
Sure. So you can find my business at beextraordinary.tv. That's beextraordinary.tv, all one word. And you can find on there my best-selling book, Social Wealth. It sold like 35,000 copies, I think, as of last month. And so it's done really well. I have business and coaching services on there. Soon, probably in the next 3 to 4 months, I'll have a product on relationship building, networking, and influence that people can use that I've built through the last 10 years of doing research and interviewing thousands of people and trying to how to put that all together for people. And, you know, I'm here to help people get unstuck and take their business and life to the next level. And I love doing it. And I have a lot of happy clients. And the great thing about it, my clients don't go away. So I'm very fortunate.
Very good. Very good. So one last question. I can't afford to go to TED. I'm working my tail off. I'm a business guy. I can't go away from a week. I'm a small business. And when I leave, the business just doesn't run quite right. But I'd like to go to something like TED. Anything else I can go to? Anything you suggest I do in my community, town, state?
Well, I tell
region?
you that there are great ways to meet quality people. And the places that you go are places that lead with giving. So I love going to charity events, right? A lot of the boards of charity events have influential people in the community. Going to nonprofits, meaning museums, symphony, opera, all of those places are great places to go. You know, you can find some of the chambers of commerce can be good. It depends on the area and what's going on. You probably have to look into it. Some professional groups can be, but again, I go and check them out. I'm not as big a fan because I'd much rather meet someone in a social setting who is an influencer and also is in a place of giving, because you can tell a lot about that person at that point. I mean, it's a generalization, but I found it's more times than not that it's true. So those are the places that I would tell people if they don't want to travel, because with the conferences, you know, there's a limited set and you've got to go to the right places. And, you know, for instance, I'm going to this conference 99U in New York. Well, you can pay $800 and go and sit among 1,000 people, but I'm going to pay $3,000 to go in a smaller room. Well, the difference between that is all the difference in the world, because now I can have conversations with all the speakers and a limited set of people, and it's way easier to engage with people in that setting. But there's a price to pay for that, and that's, you know, one of the challenges out there if you really want to make conferences successful. You can't just stand out in the crowd. You've got to find a way to shrink it down.
So, Jason, with that, we're going to finish up with iTunes, but stay tuned because we're going to be on with YouTube for a while. We're going to bring the listeners on from Blab and ask you a few questions. I'm going to talk a little bit about something you said. I'm going to talk about local meetups and chamber and some of my ideas about those areas, which probably aren't too flattering for meetups. So, but I think what you're saying is a way to go. So thank you folks for listening in. This has been Timelines. You'll find us at timelinesofsuccess.com. Or you can also go over to Timelines Netcast and it'll point you that direction. Thank you, Jason. I appreciate your time and your patience today after this big storm here in Reno, Nevada. You'll be up tonight on iTunes.
Well, thanks for having me on the show, Bill.
Okay, Jason, thanks for letting me hit this on it, because that really will save me some time. And you'll hear it on the YouTube. You can go back and listen to YouTube and hear that sound. So we got Jonathan up there. He mentioned TEDx, but let me talk. Welcome to join Rob and Jonathan if you get a chance to come on in, any of the listeners. But one thing that I'm thinking about, and this is a discovery. I went back in them I had a design build construction, went back in the military because of 9/11, and I actually went back and finished up my active duty. So I was out of the system for about 5 years working on a project. I came back this new world of communication systems and processes. But when I came to Reno, I got into the meetup groups, and I started a meetup group and I took over a meetup group, and I'm about to give that up. A lot of work, but I would say that's the lowest level. The meetup groups, I mean, you meet people, but it's not the quality people you really want to meet. Have you ever gone to a meetup?
I do. That's why I don't suggest them. They can be, but what I like meetups for more is to meet people in interests that you like. Yeah. For instance, like a running group, maybe an art class, could be salsa dancing, some interest that you like, because then you're finding people that are like-minded and like doing the interest. And that's important, right? And that's how I use meetups. I would not use meetups in terms, if you want to meet people, you go to charities and nonprofits, because that's where wealthy people and influencers go. When you ask them, that's where they go. So go where they go, because that's going to mean a lot more opportunities for you, right? I mean, don't try to, don't go in a room full of 100 people and try to find one person that likes to go skiing. Join the ski club, right? It's the same premise. I mean, you just got to narrow the universe down and make it easier on you. And also, if you're an introvert, people always say to me, one at a time, right? Or I don't want to go to all these groups. And I'm like, okay, well, go to targeted things, put it on your schedule, and have it be strategic for you. And then people are much more apt to go if they're doing that rather than a hodgepodge of things where they may find people, they may not.
Right. I agree 100%. And it's by trial and error. I have an entrepreneur group of 600 people. We moved it. I tried different things. I tried to do like a Wednesday quick coffee after we have 1MC, 1 million cups, which is out of, have you ever heard of 1 million cups?
I did. Yeah, I have. Yeah.
I haven't gone
on, but
it's not too bad, but there's pros and cons of it too. It depends how well it's run in your community. It's out of, the hub is out of Kansas City. It's pretty interesting. So, I mean, that's a step up, but I'm going to give up this entrepreneur group. And then I've got another one, which I started, which is WordPress for business users. Now we have a regular WordPress meetup, and I sort of like that, even though there's about 3 or 4 people that show up there who actually, or maybe 5, who know WordPress pretty well, but most people don't know it. So yeah, it's a weird thing. Maybe mastermind groups in small communities and towns. You got to work from within.
Yeah, it's hard to find masterminds that you're not paying for because the commitment level just doesn't work. I'll tell you what the biggest challenge is that people don't invest, right? I mean, I got some coaching from my coach who's amazing in a time when I didn't have the money to spend. And I spent like $5,000 for 8 weeks of coaching with him. And I was just like, I'm going to go all in and just try it. And you just have to do it, right? I mean, at some point you've got to start investing in yourself rather than other things. And I realize it's scary. And the reality is you're not going to get it right all the time. But even if you do something that doesn't pay off, you're going to see to yourself, okay, well, why didn't it work? And then that will help you figure out how to find people, right, that are actually going to be useful for you, or conferences or things that are going on. And that's what I've done. I've iterated and finding better and better people in my life and doing that. But you just can't, at some level, there's some things you just can't skimp on. I mean, you can try to cut a lot of corners, and trust me, as a business owner, I do that all the time. But there's some things that you just can't, right? It's not like I can't get a client if they don't go to TED. There's a lot of conferences I can go to, but I tell them the same thing. I mean, that's where the money is. If you want the gold, you got to go where people are handing bags of it out, right? If you know how to go after it. And it's not, even if you go to TED and you say to me, well, I don't have $1 million invested. You don't need to, because you may be able to trade someone and help them who's a founder of a company, right? You may be able to find some great people who can line up jobs for you or help you in a myriad of ways that's going on. I had a friend of mine who had some significant cancer problem that was semi-rare, and ended up through a friend of mine networking, got him into a place in Houston with this great doctor who took care of him like it was part of his family member, right? But that would have never happened had it not been through someone I met randomly and I decided to engage with them and have a conversation. And so people in your life, people will say to me, well, I don't want to go out and meet people and I've got enough friends. And I'm like, well, you know what? The time that when you need someone is the time you need them. And you need to build these relationships, because at the end of the day, they'll matter for you or other people in your life.
Yeah, and I'm looking at your blog site right now. You've got a pretty extensive, the blogs that you've written are pretty detailed. They take a long time to create those.
Yeah, I mean, I try to make them so people can find some use out of them and take some action on them. And I've got some other ones I need to update. I've been offline on that for a little while. I've had a lot of other things going on in busy month of December, but I'm working on the next one now. That's
the problem. You get so busy that you can't, it's hard to keep up with doing everything. I see big time. We're in real estate and construction still, some connections, and they people blog and then they follow up. But these are nice. It's a nice blog. That 7 things no one told you about.
I blog a lot. So, I mean, it's pretty regularly now. It's been a little bit less lately because December too, I mean, a lot of my friends are off of work and they're not working as much. So it's a great opportunity to spend time with people. So I look at it more as spending time with people in December than anything else for me. So it's worth it to do that, because at most of the year, I'm not going to be able to get together with all these people because they don't have the time off or they're not willing to take it. So you just got to do it when you can. And so, but for me, the fall's a great time. It's way busier, way more things going on. So, I work a little bit less in the fall compared to the rest of the year, so I can take advantage of this and spend time with people when, they're available, because you can't meet people if they're not around.
Yeah. Hey, Jason, you just got Jonathan said you're running your website on WordPress, which I'm pretty sure you are.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you have a team helping you out with WordPress?
I don't, right? I'm using a theme from Michael Hyatt that I got. And so I have someone who's in Spain that helps me do some things on there, but not a lot. I don't do a lot of changes on the website because it is what it is. I mean, I'm not trying to be, I'm not trying to be overly complex with it. There's some things I want to do, like probably look at doing a different header. There's some things I need to, look at in it, but I haven't, I don't spend a crazy amount of time on the structure of it.
Your header's not bad. The only thing I would say is on your right side widget area, I would fill that up with some things. You could put a simple Jetpack widget on the right side and then have all your blogs show up.
What's funny? Brian Harris ran, he has this site called Video Fruit, and he had done this test on it, and I got a couple coaching sessions with him. And when he actually cleared out the right side and had absolutely nothing on it, his numbers went up as far as getting more emails.
Well, you could completely take it away, and then you put it at the bottom. I noticed you've got some
stuff at the bottom too. Yeah, I mean, not a lot, but it's I kind of go back and forth, and that's why I only put a couple things on there. But I've debated taking it down completely on the right side and just having it be the blog all the way across. So,
hey, Jonathan just said there's a regular TED running at Reno. Yeah, there is, and I probably should have signed up for it this year. I got the early notification. There are actually 2 TEDs here. One's at Reno, and then we have an entrepreneur group that does a TED. There's 2 different groups, and it's TEDx. It's the sub element, sort of like WordCamps, I think, in WordPress. WordCamps are fun. Yeah. I don't know if there's a lot of money in it or not. It's really cutting edge, really neat stuff. I like the people. WordCamp is the WordPress place where people get together. It's usually subsidized by companies, by online businesses and providers, hosts. Those are things that I like to do. It's really interesting. I've never had a discussion of like what things you should go to. No, I was thinking out loud here, and I've been thinking about this. We've got a lot of conferences in Reno. A lot of people like to come here. Fairly rich people come here, and they go up the hill not far from me. It's to ski and to have conferences, doctors, things like that. And maybe there's some way we can provide this new medium. I'm trying to think, how would people use what we're using right now? I think I get to know you a little bit by this discussion. You saw like I was chaotic this morning and surviving from the storm last night. So it was like a human relationship stuff going on with me. And I do this every day. So you get to know people a little bit, and you get to know you get to see you, how you react, and as opposed to on the phone or just a podcast. So
yeah, I like it. I've got a hard stop at 12 or in like 4 minutes. So just
well, I appreciate it. I was a little behind the power curve today. I had to get my beauty rest, but I learned a lot. So next year, come back on and tell us what you're doing and how you're going and how it's working. And good luck. It sounds like you're doing pretty well.
Yeah, things are going, well. I always told people, you've got to innovate and think about things. And that's the one thing that I'm trying to utilize inside of like the clients where I have multiple clients is how can I innovate with my business and try to do more things and bring in more revenue. And, I think that's what people don't do enough on is really spend time thinking like, what could I do to make some more money? What are alternative revenue streams here, and pitch it out and actually ask for the order. So it's, one thing I'd recommend people to try and see how it would work.
When you get the Zippy course on, give me a contact right away. I'll bring you back on. We'll do a special. We'll talk about your course and how you struggled, your struggles and what you did to get this up.
Yeah. And, I definitely will.
One last thing. You sound like you like to figure out things yourself, which is good, and then probably delegate. So you're figuring out how to do this course pretty much yourself, it sounds like.
Yeah, I am. I'm going to hire someone to do the videos on it when I need to film all these videos now, because I don't want to mess with that, and I'd rather outsource that. So I'm going to have to get much more orchestrated, because I did videos before, but I don't have the time, and I want to have it done a little bit more with a professional look and feel, rather than having to shoot it off a camera here and having to deal with that. So some of the things I'm going to outsource. And now,
Michael Hyatt, you mentioned Michael Hyatt. You have his theme. Do you know Michael Hyatt?
I don't, but I've, bought a couple courses and followed him for quite a while. So, I try to follow some of the people in marketing that are doing more cutting edge things and stay on top of it the best that I can, because it helps me stay abreast of what people are doing and what they're coming out with. Like ConvertKit is something that people are replacing for Aweber right now. And it seems to be, there's a bunch of people I know working on it now that seem really happy with it. And I have not checked it out yet, but they've imported their stuff and they like it. They said there's some issues with it. I think it's Sean and his last name is Ogle. Or it's either it's him or another man, his name's Tom, and it's Ewer. And they're sort of lifestyle entrepreneurs. And one of the two I know is using ConvertKit. And I've got an email and I asked a couple questions on it and sent me it. So I'm going to check that out and see what it is.
Jonathan, close your ears. I use Infusionsoft, but it's a tough platform. I would not recommend it for anybody. In fact, you're using Aweber, right?
I am. And Infusionsoft for me, it's because of the cost of doing it right now. I don't have if I sell the product and I keep working it, it definitely would be it'd be an investment I'd make, but I don't have that level. And a lot of my clients, some find me online, but I don't have enough of a sophisticated marketing structure yet to utilize it, the cost that I have to pay to do it.
I would budget a minimum of $7,000 to $10,000 to implement Infusionsoft, not just to buy the initial package, but to buy not an Infusionsoft person, because this is the first level, but to buy a partner. Find the best partner in Infusionsoft, a Infusionsoft partner.
Yep.
And have them set everything up. Hey, I'll let you go. I thank you. It'll be on YouTube. Our sound is good.
Thanks a lot.
And next time, get that mic. Come back here to that $50 mic. And
I will
put the link in. Don't go away. You can always go back and find these links on the website down below. See on the right side of this platform on Blab. So I'm going to go to Netcasting 101. And Netcasting 101, it's my little resources. It's not much. But there's a list of stuff on there. And the two things I recommend are right there, the ATR 2100. It's really easy. Jonathan uses it. He tears up on it. And it's got great sound. And it's a rich mic. It's a really rich basic USB mic. You just plug it right in your computer. If you ever need any help, I'm on every day. You can call at the end of the show like this, and I'll come up in Zoom and help you tune it if you need help. So take care.
I will.
Thanks, Jason.
All right. Thanks a lot. Okay. Bye.
So the meeting after the meeting, we've got the three wise men on right now. And you guys want to come up? I'm still recording. We had a few folks, 14 people come through. Hey, I don't know if you know this yet, Rob, but we had like 2,700 people watch Meet the Voter last week, or watch replays. There he is.
Hey, Bill. How are you?
Hey, there he is. You look amazing. You don't sound amazing. You're low.
Oh, am I? Is that any better?
You got that high speed stuff. You need this $50 mic. USB plugged in. Jonathan, do you have Jonathan probably has the headsets on.
Is that better?
No, you're still low.
I'm still low?
So we have it's interesting who popped up. The Lounge Lizard. The Lounge Network. So we should start our own TED conference.
Is that better?
Jonathan, what are you up to, Jonathan?
Hey, Carlos.
Vinoli, did I say that right? Vinoli on for 90 days in Blab. She is an expert blabber. She's been 90 days. I just followed you from South Africa. Wow. Nice. So what are you up to, Rob? You're on full work mode right now, right?
I am.
Bring up your sound. You look good. You got to bring that sound up.
Yeah, but what I don't
bring the gain up.
This is the mic you said last week.
Now it's working fine. Oh. You got the gain. The gain came up.
Okay. All right. I don't know.
Amazing. You'll be able to hear this.
Well, the reason that I'm using this mic is because last week by accident I had this thing plugged in, and you made some comment. You're like, "Oh my God, what'd you do to your sound? It's the best I've ever heard it." I'm like, "What?"
It's deeper and richer.
But what threw me off is you just said, "Oh, well, now it sounds bad." I'm like, "Oh my God, back to square one."
It was like the gain came up. What did you do to bring the gain up?
I turned the gain up.
I had this little
sometimes it's just the actual simple things.
Yeah, turn the gain up. No, like turn the button on here when it's first starting. There's an on and off switch, which I wish they wouldn't put on these at all. On and off switches. Like, I'm gonna cut this because people you can't find the on and off switch.
Yeah.
I wish there was I need to do something called a mix minus where I could mix this better coming back and listen to both sides.
Mm-hmm.
My side, because I just do it by VFR tuning this down. Have you ever gone to a TEDx?
No, I mean, I've seen a lot of the YouTube videos, but I've never attended one.
I almost decided to go to the TEDx here. I got an early bird notification for $100. It's probably twice as much, and there's probably no tickets left now in Reno. We have two TEDx's here. One's the university, probably the best one's university. And then, but that's all local folks too, I think. Maybe not. It's an interesting discussion. I think I'm about done this week with meetups. You know, we were talking about meetups
with timelines.
What's that?
Who do you have for the rest of the week with timelines?
Oh, for timelines? Actually, a pretty good fill this week. I didn't have to do anything. I do have to call, my calendars are not syncing exactly right, so I had to call Google next. But I've got, let's see, Jason. Tomorrow I might have Karen on. Then I've got Matt Holmes, Holmes. I'll pull up his sheet. And then next week we've got Kim Adis. We've got some other people, Lee Murphy, Michelle. I'm really focused on, I promoted Meet the Voter last week a little bit. I sent it out to 600 people. And it got down into Carson City, which is the capital under the consultants. So I sent it out to a bunch of consultants, even though they're not coming out or doing anything, they're watching and they're sending it out. And I think somebody from Bernie Sanders' camp actually pushed it out to one of their mail lists.
Oh, interesting.
That's how we got 2,600 downloads.
Yeah, that was awesome. So you get another 400, and you're going to be able to tap into the that site that you emailed me earlier this week on.
They contacted me back and forth a couple times. We were looking at the podcast, and I asked them. They only market through podcasting, and I asked them, well, Blab, if we could put, I have a little thing where you can put a commercial right away into Blab, and the Blab is just as powerful as podcasting. Probably people listen to it more. So if you had my boss jock and you just put a commercial in right now as we're speaking, people would hear it live as well as hear it on the replays on the Blab. So that's what I really need to do. Too bad I had a really nice mixer that would have been a lot better to use to do this.
Well, if you had a studio presence system, you could just drop the, you could pre-populate the advertisements and just naturally just cue them in.
Well, that's and just hit a button up there. But how do you hook? That's that's on Windows 7, right?
What's
the name of the studio system?
No. I'm talking about my studio system.
Oh, yours.
Yeah.
I was thinking the other one that the guys use, that Windows 7 version. It's about $1,000. I forgot what it's called.
Wirecast?
Wirecast, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much all of those will allow you to do different scenes. Even XSplit you could use. And that XSplit's like $100, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And you can
XSplits, yeah.
XSplit lets you do 12 scenes, I think, 12 or 15.
And you have to shoot it back in. See, my Mac has. It's tough. You got to do, the only way I know to shoot it back in is a mix minus. You have to put the sound back in, or I don't have it here because I have one iPad. Actually two. My daughter uses it for sketching, and it's downstairs right now. But I could hook this up and play sound back into it. The commercial, just the sound. You could put a video commercial on too, I guess.
That's what I mean. Well, actually, you see that Carlos is in. I think you've met Carlos before.
Yeah. Carlos, why don't you come on tomorrow? My wife doesn't want to come on, so she's like the backup for tomorrow. I want her to come on. She needs to come on.
I've done a few shows with Carlos. We did one a couple weeks ago, and he was talking about music videos that he had in his archives. And so while he was talking, I turned my camera into kind of like the YouTube. So we were playing videos through my system while he was talking about the music videos. So, whether it's a music video or a sponsor's advertisement, it could be the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's it's the same thing. You can stick those in there and just play them and say, we're going to a break. And then you can go and clean them up for iTunes and, tweak them a little bit. YouTube, they don't have to be that clean.
Right.
Just be rough. In fact, I was watching a top podcaster yesterday cut a show on YouTube, an older show. And he did like 7 or 8 takes at the start. He had his music wrong, get that first intro out and start his show more than me. And this is one of the top podcasters in the business. I was thinking last year, and there's 3 major RSS hosts out there, Lipson, Blueberry, and I'm trying to think of the last, but the ones that have a problem right now. I can't think of the name of them. They're big. But anyway, for Blueberry gave me $1,000 VIP pass to the National Broadcasters Association. I mean, I put my name in for it and I was selected. I never did either.
February?
Huh?
Is it in February?
Yeah, it's April 16th through 19th.
Okay.
I'm not sure if that's the best. It's okay to go to that. It's huge. I mean, if you like equipment and systems and processes and listening to top-notch people speak, I went to the commissioners of the FCC's, speech. All the suits were in there. All executives were in there. And a lot of folks who are in podcasting, my level, didn't even come close to that meeting. And I got to go that ticket. I got to go to the party, some of the parties. And the parties are interesting. I've met the top, Michael Hyatt. I've met Michael Hyatt and talked to him. Yep. We were just talking about Michael Hyatt. I've met some of the top people. Michael Hyatt's, from a publisher. He's really a publisher. I forgot who he worked for, but he's he ran one of the big publishing houses, then went off on his own with his new technology. What are you doing this week? This is the first time I haven't seen you in a while.
I know it's been since, well, I watched Meet the Voter. That was a good show. I had to step away because I was getting so irritated with Nick.
Hey, you said what's on the show this week?
I did. Socialism versus capitalism.
It's Bernie Sanders. Yeah. I think it's going to grow. I think that show might get some legs on Sunday night. I think it's a good time. I'm still thinking about moving this show to the afternoons, but I sort of like doing it this time in the morning. I got mixed feelings. For you, it's lunch. It's probably a bad time for the East Coast.
Yeah, I mean, it's noon. Yeah, it's noon for me.
It's funny. I told my wife, I said, maybe 1:30 or 1:15 Pacific, which is, 4:15 East Coast, would be an interesting time to do this. What do you think the best time to do this show would be?
Well, are you waiting for, are you banking on trying to get the most live viewers or just replays?
I think it's production time. I don't know. That question is weird. Live viewers, yeah. I guess the only reason you move it be for live viewers in your own work process. The morning is the best time to get things done for your own business, like to create content. There's Jonathan. Wonder when I was going to start saying things about him to get him to come up. Got an interesting email today. Somebody emailed me with a four. You see that 404 email I got from WP Tonic this morning?
Yeah, I thought it was from you. It's from somebody else.
Yeah. Someone sent it. Hey, Bill, they tried to sign up or something in your course and they got a 404. And they sent it to me. I don't know why. I've been throwing your ad on timelines at least once.
I better check it.
It was on yesterday's.
I better check it. Thanks for that.
It works. That ad works.
Hey, Jonathan.
Hello there, Rob. How are you doing?
Good.
You sound good, Jonathan, with you're using your mic.
Yeah, I'm in the Reno Entrepreneur Center. The Adams.
Oh, you're in Reno?
No, in Carson
City.
Yeah. Just to say to you, we got a guest for tomorrow, for Thursday.
Okay, is that the only guest we have? Because I was going to invite Kate yesterday, and I said I'm going to work on this link to make sure we don't double book.
That's a good question. She's just agreed actually, so I'll go in and book that. I'll book it now.
Okay, you got that one link. I'm going to make two links. One for the real estate show. We'll talk about. I still like to call it. I think the real estate show, or real estate agent show, is better. And then market it.
So she's agreed. So I also sent her. I'm having a blab with her this afternoon to show her how it works. Mm-hmm. And she's given a topic, and I've also sent her the link to your form so she can fill the form in.
Okay, that's not critical. That's a timelines form. I need to make a new form for just the two shows.
I'm just doing what we agreed, Bill.
No. I said you said the form. I said you don't have to do the form. Did you hear I had to turn it off. He was hitting the button right here on the mic. It was driving me nuts. Early part of the show.
I wasn't listening to all of it because
I did a restart because it was hitting the mic right here. It was hitting the button, the little mic here. Like, you sound pretty good. If you pull that mic in your chin here, like this, you won't hear the noise.
This one, you mean?
Hear the noise when you touch it.
Is that where the noise is coming from?
Yeah, that's where it always comes from. What happens is, anytime your mic, especially if it's a hard button or something like that, it makes a scratch. It's called a scratch.
All right. So she's going to talk about a really interesting subject. She's going to talk, and she knows what she's talking about. She's going to talk about the restless API system.
Mm-hmm.
And so it should be an interesting discussion.
She's not a power user, but the Restless API. I would like to get more power users on, like I said, maybe a topic with one power user each month. So two classes like on the Restless API. Who is she?
If you look, she was on she's on Wikipedia. She went to MIT. To say that she's not a power user is a slightly understate. She's one of the biggest hitters in the San Francisco that we've had on our show, Bill.
Again, in the technology side, but when I say power user, I'm thinking somebody who's actually using WordPress, not to do code and programming, but WordPress.
Oh no, I thought we do a spread this month. And
yeah, it's okay.
I love you, Bill.
I said it's okay to do that. I mean, we're doing power users, but it's okay to just January to be mixed match.
Yeah. We've got some interesting people.
Yeah, it's always good to definitely meet people on this platform. What's Rob doing there? He's showing his stuff.
He got bored.
Is that his platform?
He's just gone off because he got bored, and I don't blame him.
Look at him. That's what he's doing.
Right. So, yep. So I thought I'd tell you that, and yeah, and
I'm going to redo the link.
I will investigate the 401 right now, Bill.
Okay. Hey, I bought another domain yesterday. I bought 2 domains the last 2 days.
You buy one every day, don't you?
I finally splurged and I thought about this. I didn't tell people, but I bought Timelines Netcast.
Rob, have you got any kind of treatments for Bill? He's got this disease where he's got this urge that he has to buy a domain almost every day. Got any advice or cures for the disease?
For trying to temper his desire to buy domains?
Timelines. Exactly. I only bought 2 this month.
Presumably, eventually he'll run out of cash, so it'll kind of fix itself, right?
Well, I have my own reseller account, which I really like to make it simple. In fact, I would suggest, I have so much confidence in my system that I suggest anybody through me, buy their domains, because the management is so much easier for domains and pointing them. It's basically the same company that does all the GoDaddy backside sets up these accounts, and then if I fail, they take them over into a Western domain service. Well, it's real simple. It's real simple.
Yeah, it's obviously true. The amount you're buying, Bill,
but it's real simple. And I only add $1.50 to my cost, so it's like $9.99 for domain a year. But it's so simple to point and direct. It's just a real simple system to manage your domains, to point them over to our web hosts.
What site is this?
Hey, Jonathan, I do have one last question. Tell Rob, what have you done any work with DigitalOcean this week or last couple of weeks? Anything new in DigitalOcean?
No, it works.
Yeah. It works.
It works. That's all that matters. I'm a techie, Bill, but I'm not a fiddler like you. You love your fiddling, don't you?
That's 99 cents. That's from GoDaddy, but you have to buy 2 years, and it's going to cost you $15-16. GoDaddy, supposedly their hardcore cost is $8.50 a year in a domain. That's what before they make a profit, it's $8.50 they spend. With their support and hosting and all that. A lot of domains are $14 a year. A lot of Bluehost is $14. SiteGround, I don't know what they charge a year.
Oh, they're not cheap.
You said it the other day, though. It's so important, I think, to put your domains in one place. And GoDaddy is fine, and then point them. But I'm going to be the cheapest there is without the deals. It's $10 a domain a year, and you just point it, and it works.
No, I just can't resist taking the mickey out of you, Bill.
My own podcasters home, so they can't be available.
I'm English, so it's part of my temperament to take the piss out of you, Bill.
Well, is that house or home? That's Holmes. You put an S at the end. I'm not going to get Holmes.
I've got to be off now, Bill. I'll see you later. Right?
Okay, have fun down there. Are you going to be there all day?
Yeah, I'm working. I've got a ton of stuff to do. See you later.
All right, I got to go and see the gymnast coach this afternoon. So here's my family thing. I got to go see the gymnast. We're going to do my 2 daughters. I got to go see the Bulgarian gold medalist and his wife, and the Russian won't come in. So I get the counseling today on diet and health and life and for my kids. So tough. These Eastern trainers are hardcore.
I'll bet.
They're not Americans. Hey, I would like to get, I don't have anybody lined up for tomorrow. I would like to get somebody lined up. My wife might come in.
I don't remember. What did Carlos say? He said he was.
Carlos, you should do it. We'll do it. Keep it short. Let's see. I am
conference calls.
Domain anonymous. I can relate to that. I get off of it and I come back. I really need to clean up my domain service. Hey, here, I thought of another way to make money. Here's my latest way. There's a lot of, and I didn't talk to Jonathan about this, but I was talking to another guy, Ron Wilder, who I knew up here and lives a few blocks away from me. And he thinks on the course, there's a lot of cheap course, online training course plugins and systems coming out right now. And what happened is it's all open source code. We think the people are just copying the code and rebranding it to create these online course platforms. So you have to make sure if you're using it, they're going to maintain it, support it, and that sort of thing. So what if you had some kind of place where people could go for like 3 days or 4 days, write the outline of their course, maybe get coaching, and then go knock out their online training course?
But would they have to bring their people physically to it, put them up in hotels, fly them there, feed them?
No, I would say it would just be one person. They'd send in you'd have a couple weekly meetings ahead of time to get them up to a certain level. Then they'd come in to the conference, and maybe a handful of people. You sit down in 3 or 4 days, maybe small groups, and you help them create their full platform with their training, with their videos, talking, how they're going to present it, how they're going to, float it through ScreenFlow or whatever systems they're using. Because there's a lot to do to create a course.
Sorry, Carlos, I just thought of something with regard to what you and I were talking about last night with regard to Pluto. Is we're thinking about live streaming to the internet. But remember last night I was talking about being able to cross pollinate with other manufacturers and brands, but think about digital signage. So, one of the things that always companies find themselves lacking with digital signage is content. So I know that there are a few companies now that cross pollinate with digital signage now, but that might be a means where, maybe as part of their digital package, they get, access to Bill's show or whatever, so that they can embed these live shows into their existing content. You understand what I'm talking about?
And then give them the option to change channel type of thing.
Yeah. So, you know what I mean by digital signage, right?
Yeah.
Like banks play it, when you're waiting in line to cash your check or whatever. But if instead of them playing CNN or ESPN like they do now, what if you could screen scrape relevant content? Like, Bill's Timelines is about really successful people. So if you could find niche industries where that's kind of their genre or what they're about, then you could give the digital signage offering. Okay, well, here's your channels of content. So when Bill goes live, he basically is keeping whatever other content is being showed with it fresh, whether it's a shitty. Sorry, Bill. Whether it's a bad.
That's okay. So this is YouTube. This is not iTunes.
Whether it's a bad PowerPoint or whatever that's rolling in the background, instead of using live TV like they do now, using just live streaming content.
Now, have you tried Pluto yet?
What is Pluto? I just looked up the.
So Pluto is something that I've been wanting to invent, but somebody, obviously got ahead of me. I'll show you what it looks like.
Well, when I Google Pluto, we come up with Pluto, the planet. What's Pluto TV?
Mm-hmm.
Who's invented it? And watch TYT Network channel.
And they have they have an app for the Mac. They have an app for Windows. They have an app for iPhone. They have an app for Apple TV. They have app. So does this interface look familiar to you? Well, there you go. Rob's showing it.
Listen, so we're learning something new. We got Pluto today. Something new.
I don't know how new it is, but
that's CNN right now, right?
No. So none of the channels in here are actual cable channels. with the exception of maybe MSNBC or something like that, who
Wow.
have contributed to Pluto. So this is a CNET, one of the channels that I favorited.
Right, CNET.
So all this is online contributors.
I used to watch CNET. I used to pay attention to CNET left and right in the Bay Area. I'm not quite. I haven't done CNET in so long. It's you.
So you'll see, it's all scheduled. It's all like just like your traditional cable, but with multiple channels.
Wow.
It's all online content.
Wow. So who's using this?
I am.
Well, you are. Who invented it?
Pluto. I don't know if that's a company. I don't know if they're part of another company. But all the content.
You know, it seems to me that there's going to be needs for people to make content. Does that make good content?
So if you can imagine the business model being, hey, look,
wow,
everybody knows that cable's going to go to the internet.
Mm-hmm.
But once it goes on the internet, it becomes an even platform for content creators like us.
Yep.
And what that allows you to do is then be side by side with a CNN or an NBC or that type of thing.
This is a great speech to get around here, what you're saying right now. To develop
Well, this is the conversation I had with Rob yesterday, which is why he brought it up. I like to consider myself a futurist, and I like to take what we have now and try to create something that looks like that, and then understand how the market's going to follow through, and see how people are experimenting with what I call the gray area of media.
You know, it used to be called multimedia.
Well, yeah. I mean, I call it the gray area because it's the conversion between everything that was analog to digital, including all forms of media, books, music, film, art. And so all these applications that are coming in the past few months, years, whatever, are contributing to the change, but none of them are going to stick permanently, with the exception of a handful.
What if we created right now like a quick speakers bureau on this technology?
Explain that. I don't know what that means.
You can get paid to go speak at conferences left and right. I live in Reno, so we have conferences, maybe 5 to 7 a week. If you lived in Las Vegas, you'd have tons of conferences. So they're always looking for speakers or somebody to communicate or talk about stuff. A lot of things, people pay to speak too, but there could be a place for corporations, businesses, ideas, coaching, in what you're doing right now. This idea of, I call it new media.
Yeah, I mean, the new media conversation has been around for some time, but the way this is affecting this gray area that I keep calling it, like Periscope and Blab and Mevi and the way I was telling Rob, this is not live streaming. I mean, it is technically, but
what we're doing now is not live streaming.
No, so what I call it is this is actual social media. So Facebook and Twitter and Facebook and stuff is just other versions of text messaging. This is social media. There's 3 people talking socially about whatever conversation, and that changes the game. That is actual social media. It's what social media was intended to be. And the way I know I'm right is because Facebook Live kicked in. Twitter now has, inside of the Twitter feed, the Periscope showing up. So soon, when you do a Periscope, it'll show up on your Twitter feed, and someone can tap into it and watch it live, straight from Twitter. Right. So social media, the known websites that we talk about, is acknowledging that they are not technically social media until now. It's like a graduation. And that's that.
So I just changed the topic. It's Blab social media.
How's the video quality?
I mean,
say again.
How is the video quality?
I just wonder what happens when this goes up on YouTube. What people, if anybody catches this stuff like this. What are you looking at down there? What's down below?
Oh, that's my in the Apple computer, you can turn your screensaver into like, it looks like painting frames.
Oh yeah.
And then that's just my artwork in frames. That's cool. So it's like walking through an art gallery.
The attorneys and laws and copyright and fair use, all these different things are going to be twisted all over the place. There's so much being put out there right now.
Yeah, but all these software developments already occurring. So there's about a small handful of companies that have technology that basically take a digital fingerprint of all content that exists, and then correlate it to the proper copyright owners.
Right.
That's why when well, maybe not artwork. I mean, and that could come into play, but mostly digital media such as video and audio. So if you play a song in your podcast and YouTube hears that song, they know that you may not be the copyright owner of that.
Right. No, they can do that pretty fast. And then some countries.
Yeah, but all this is my artwork, so I own the copyrights to everything anyway.
Do you know, last night I listened to the State of the Union by the president, and I watched it on the app, on ABC's app, on my iPhone 6 Plus, and it was the best streaming I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It was perfect streaming, not a gap, not anything. And I just have basic cable in here with, the
only thing that sucked was the message.
What's that?
So the only thing that sucked was the message itself.
Uh-oh, somebody's a hater.
That it's going to be interesting. Saturday will be interesting discussion, I'm sure. So yeah, there's so much out there. Gosh darn it. It's
so Pluto obviously is aiming at certain markets and so on. My idea would be to really focus on all the independents.
How does Pluto make money?
So you select the channel, you watch it, and there's ads. And in those ads, I'm sure there's a revenue split.
Yeah, I can't believe I heard of Pluto before.
Oh, don't worry. I'll tell you about things as they come along.
That's pretty nice.
That's my job.
I cut the cord for the TV just so I could get into other technologies. In 2012, when I got back from Afghanistan with my family, we cut cable. We just have internet.
Now, what's interesting, and clearly, for me, Pluto is exciting because I'm one of those guys that loves to come up with ideas, but it's the amount of resources that you have that limit what you may or may not be able to do. But it's good to know, as far as I'm concerned, that I'm on the right track because other people are thinking the same thing. And so, which means that I can kind of, once this is done, since people are doing it, I can just skip to the next idea and not necessarily waste any resources. Yeah. But
you have to make money though.
True. And I will. But the fact that you can have a device like an Apple TV, which also has Pluto TV, so do the Android devices.
So Apple has Pluto on it?
Yeah, if you download, if you have the latest Apple TV, you can download the Pluto TV app.
So should I go and buy a mini? You can buy a mini pretty cheap, or buy the Apple TV.
Personally, for me, just in the simplicity, an Apple TV is sufficient.
We have two Apple TVs.
Nuts, if you want to go, well, are they the newest ones? Because that's really the game changer.
We have two Apple TVs and we got a few Rokus.
Carlos, I did try to download it as an app on my iMac yesterday, and it wasn't available. So, are you sure that it's available? I'm sure it's available for
iMac,
Apple TV, but I don't know if it's available for the computer.
Well, I have it on my iPhone and my iPad and my Roku. Let me take a look because the little.
I can project my iPhone right up to the TV. I'd rather do that, with the Apple TV, so I can control it right here.
So even on the web browser, it shows up, with the video content and so this is on my Mac.
Oh, the web browser is great. I'm watching it right now. It is really good. It is pretty amazing. So Headline news. I mean, this is amazing. I've been wanting this stuff for a while.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. So now, so how. What's cool is that you're able to download all these separate apps like CNET and some of these apps that we're looking at. What's great is that Pluto decided to have the relationship, say we'll do a revenue split, and to the consumer or to the channel. Well, as far as the channel is concerned, hey, they can either choose to download the app the individual app like CNET app, or the MSNBC app, or just sit back and relax like you normally do on television, except you're not paying for cable. So this is free.
I know.
And then you just watch the ads.
Hey, why don't you come on tomorrow and we can talk about this? I need a filler tomorrow, like 25 minutes minimum.
Right.
Just do it. It's a timeline. It gives you a little SEO juice you probably don't need, but it's pretty simple. And I put it up on podcasts.
Hold on. So Rob, I don't know if you haven't seen this. So I just clicked on a little small tiny button in the corner. It says download, and download Pluto TV for Mac for free.
Okay. So
where's that?
So I'm downloading it now.
Yeah. Is it Mac safe?
But you started from Pluto's website, correct?
Yeah, I'm on Pluto.tv.
We can drop the link in here. So I'm on Pluto TV right now. Where does it say download the app? Why do I need the app when it's so good on the browser?
So there's 6 little icons on the bottom left-hand corner. One of them is an arrow pointing a dash, and you click on that. Okay. It'll detect your operating system and
Pluto download. But is that Mac safe? I'm downloading it, but it doesn't mean I'm going to install it.
Well, I'm going to install it because
I'll let you install it first. That way. I have actually had to pull stuff out of the kernel.
Oh yeah, I remember you telling me.
Cam twist. Do not put cam twist in your system. Do not. That's like a sucker's hole for Mac. I got the Pluto. I'll let you put Pluto. You know, it's funny. I must have downloaded it some other time because it says Pluto setup #1. I've actually downloaded this before, someplace. Never installed it because I put all my downloads in one place. I'm going to actually apply the app right now.
Yeah, so I have Sling.
Sling, right? You pay for Sling though.
I do.
I cut Sling. I tried Sling. It didn't work that well for me.
Oh, really? I watch it mostly for CNN and The Walking Dead.
I was watching CNN, and they didn't have the quality of the streaming was terrible. Was it using
really? Because I have it on the Roku, and it's in HD.
Yeah, it might be better on the Roku, but it was not on my MacBook Pro. It was just using. It was cutting. It was having a hard time. I bought it for the last debate. I did it for free for a month.
Yeah, no, I use it on. Actually, I have it on this Mac. I have it on the Mac downstairs. I have it on. The only thing I don't like is that you pay for that fee, but you can only use it on one device at a time.
Yeah. So on it.
So if my wife is watching it downstairs and I turn it on my iPhone.
Yeah, we have Amazon Prime. We've got Netflix, and then we have 2 licenses on Netflix, so my girls can watch 2 at a time. IGN. I'm trying to find. Let me see if I can find this Pluto. I know if I can just do it on my phone though and project it up on the screen through Apple TV. Yeah.
So for Pluto to project on Apple TV, you have to mirror your screen. It won't just play the video on it.
Can't you just use the Apple? Yeah, you can. You can see the screenplay. Whatever's on.
Right. Well, with video, there's 2 different types of Apple TV AirPlays.
Mm-hmm. AirPlay.
One is just the video itself, and then you can continue to use your phone.
Right.
The other is mirroring, which means your TV has to show everything that shows up on your screen.
Yeah. You know what I'm doing is if I'm watching this now, like I'm watching, I don't want people calling me. I'll put it in airplane mode. Somebody called me in the middle of the speech last night. I want to watch the speech.
And then you turn on your Wi-Fi?
Yeah, it's on Wi-Fi, so you put it on airplane mode.
See, I can't do that because my phone calls still go through Wi-Fi. I
can do that too. I can set it both ways, but I'm trying to think. Not my phone calls, but my. So here's Pluto. I'm going to open it. I'm impressed. I've been looking for something like Pluto for a while. When did it come out?
I stumbled onto it, so
it says sign up on here.
You can. You don't have to. The sign up is cool because if you create channels that are favorites, it'll synchronize that on all your platforms. So
should I sign up with Facebook or sign up on a?
I use my email.
Yeah, I'm going to use email too. So I usually use. I have LastPass.
Yeah.
So I love the new LastPass. Have you seen the new LastPass? How nice it is.
I mean, I don't use it, but I'm very familiar with it.
They just upgraded it. OnePass. They're trying to get up there with OnePass. It was bought by, I think, LinkedIn bought LastPass.
Mm-hmm.
But it's an amazing tool. It's the most productivity tool that I have. If you're in this business, how can you not have a password management system?
Because it's built into Safari.
Okay. Yeah. Keychain.
Yeah.
Yep. But the nice thing is I can go back and forth. I can store stuff. It's secure. I use both Keychain as well as LastPass. And LastPass will go back.
Yeah, I like Keychain because it synchronizes with all my devices.
Yeah. Well, you're all Mac, but if you have PCs, it won't go there. My LastPass will sync with my PCs, and I can look it up anywhere. If I can look up, I can put notes in there. I put all sorts of fun stuff.
Okay, so let's turn this on.
So why aren't you're going to come up? Why not? Why don't you come up tomorrow? My wife will be happy.
What time?
It would be. Where are you located?
In Atlanta, East Coast.
East Coast. So it's 12 o'clock. I'll send you the link.
Yeah, 12 o'clock. I have a couple of conference calls with some people in New York tomorrow around that time.
What time? So you can't do it tomorrow. We do it some other time then.
Yeah, I mean, I do want to do it. Because it's, all right. So
yeah, I start every day at 12 o'clock Eastern. Mm-hmm. I might change that time. I might push it back. Oh, this is Reuters came up. Kind of nice. I just logged on. It came.
Oh yeah, and what's great is that the interface is the same on the phone.
I can't believe how good it looks. Mm-hmm. Man, is that good.
Now I worked with a developer
ABC
2
News?
years ago to develop something similar.
There's ABC News. Sky News. Sky News is probably good. Bloomberg. Wow. You know, a year ago, 2 years ago, I looked at every city could have their little news channel at a fraction of the cost of the traditional channels. You know, and put it on demand. So notice I changed the topic. Is Blab social media? What should I put for a topic?
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like a good topic.
You could do Pluto.
Or streaming. I should put some hashtags.
Or if you want to talk about Pluto TV, we could be
hashtag Pluto TV.
Yeah, I'll put some different things in. Is Blab social media?
Hey, Carlos, is the media stuttering?
Media or?
I haven't. Just turning on the app right now.
No. On my screen, is it stuttering?
Oh.
No.
Well, keep in mind, I'm looking at the iPhone, so it's tiny. It doesn't look like it's stuttering, but then again, you have a graph on it.
Right.
I didn't put topic in here. Hashtag topic. I don't think I'm doing this right.
Yeah, you see how it says lean back and space out? That's the whole reason I called the lounge. Because I want people to just lean back and enjoy the content.
I'm going to redo this.
I think
Blab
cool.
is interesting, though. I mean, there's some stuff I like on Blab, some things I don't like on Blab. How many people do you think are just watching Blab and not creating content on Blab?
Oh, there's a lot of people who just watch. I mean, most of the time, all I do is just watch.
Right. But if you're trying to create a product, you've got to be controlling the media in some aspect.
True. I was having some trouble with Mevi earlier and trying to see if they resolved it or not.
Yeah, I still haven't set up my Mevi account. I guess I need to do that on.
Yeah, it still hasn't resolved it yet.
I'm going to put social media one word so I can get a hashtag in here. There we go. This will get more people watching. I was doing one of Jonathan's show behind the scenes like an engineer, and I was changing the topics, and we're really starting to get a lot of folks watching by just changing topics and moving topics around. So is Blab social media, new media, or just streaming? Or is it streaming at all? It is streaming.
I mean, it's social media because you have conversations. You know, you don't regularly have conversations on like Twitter or Facebook.
How about
on occasion somebody will comment?
How about Hangouts?
Well, Hangouts is I'd say it's part of social media.
Yeah. I wonder how Hangouts are doing now compared to Blab. You know, there's probably a lot more Hangouts than there is Blab.
Yeah, although I don't feel a community in Hangouts as much as I do on Blab.
The UI in Blab is good. Hangouts is, you have to be a master at that. We still do one Hangout a month with all the top WordPress people. Wow, that is pretty impressive. Pluto, I'm impressed with Pluto.
Yeah, so, oops. Lower the volume there.
The Zeth Godin model, all free.
So you can see that there's an ad, and this is CNET.
Yeah, I saw the ad. I pulled up an ad already on my phone, but I'm pretty impressed with this. Hey, on a side note, I have a 6S Plus, but my 5S Plus, which I gave to my daughter, just became delaminated. Second 5 phone has become delaminated from the glass.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what's causing that.
Heat?
Yeah, it's not that hot. I can't figure out where the heat would be coming from. It breaks away in the corner. It's kind of weird. Dropping, I think my wife dropped hers. Hers is one, and then my daughter's has become delaminated. They go to no value once they delam. And I know it wasn't delammed when I gave to her because I looked at selling it back. So for her birthday, May should get a phone.
I also like that they have a weather channel.
Where's the weather channel in Pluto?
Yeah.
So I'm going to try to find a channel here other than just sorting through what last watched. There must be a find button somewhere. There's also a record button on here. That is weird. What's the record button for?
Where do you see that?
On the bottom of Pluto, on the right-hand side, it says share and it says record. Save the show. It saves the show. So you can watch it on demand later, I guess.
Yes.
I'm going to hit that. So type in your email.
So we've saved some great shows for you. Click the save button to save shows to watch.
Wow, this is amazing. Now, this could be the end. This is the start of the end of broadcast TV.
Well, no, it is because broadcast TV is just going to participate with it.
Your email is registered. Log in if you have an account. Okay, I'll do that.
Now, so Sling also has this ability on a lot of the channels to watch video on demand.
It's $20 a month, and I didn't have good luck with my first experiment with Sling. This looks better than Sling, to tell the truth.
Oh, yeah, I think so. Mostly because the content's already specifically made for internet. So I'm going to full screen here and see how that looks. No, it's not. That didn't be full screen. What's up with that?
I just saved. Who knows what I saved? Watch live. Geek Sunday.
Yeah. And has notification windows.
Wow, this is a lot of content. A lot of people are producing a lot of content these days.
Now, for me, I have my website and my content, and I have about maybe 2 days worth of content that streams on Fire Talk.
So I found the Weather Network.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, streams on the Firefox.
The Fire Talk?
Fire Talk.
Yeah. No,
so
it's not letting me full screen. I wonder why. Yeah, because I have too much stuff running.
Yeah, he's doing it. We're watching the same thing. And they've got a commercial for a Weather Channel. Wow. They know how many people have downloaded and watched these too.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they have a whole back-end system that's wonderful.
When I went to the national broadcasters last year, and I listened to the chairman, one thing he said they were bidding on the FM channels that are going to go away in 10 years, and AT&T had just spent $9.1 billion bid on a bunch of FM bandwidth. And the chairman said, and $1.3 billion goes back to our TV shows for emergency broadcasting. To subsidize your traditional, local community TV with some kind of community disaster broadcasting. With an antenna type thing that we still get. I have antennas upstairs in our house, and we watch the evening news through the antenna. And it's clear. It's digital. It's fine. Boy, this is really, really nuts.
Interesting. So it uses JW Player, and on occasion it uses Flash.
Flash is old technology, though, right?
It is. I mean, everybody's trying to make it obsolete.
Yeah. So I'm watching the live weather right now, and it's pretty good. It's actually produced. It's not too bad. So I could say that as a favorite, I guess, somewhere. Let's see, share. It says show.
Hello, Soul Broadcasting. Didn't see your message. I wanted to say hello back.
I'm going to try to put this on Facebook. So I'm trying to share it. This.
There we go. Now I'm getting full screen. Sweet. I mean, you don't need much else. I mean, it's not full HD on this channel that I'm watching, but it's nice. Then there's a whole channel lineup that looks just like cable. There's even a channel. There's even a channel for 4K.
I wonder who funded this.
Now GoPro, they had the GoPro channels on this. Rob.
NBC News is on this. NBC.
Yeah, I don't think all these channels. I don't think all these channels are on the the iPhone app or the Roku app.
NBC News is on.
Well, NBC News, yeah. I was watching that earlier today. But it's the morning show, so that means it's all the recorded stuff.
Right. But I watched the State of the Union last night on ABC on their app, and it was perfect.
Yeah, the CNN app and the Fox app are pretty good too.
So I still don't know when this thing came out. When did you discover it?
I started using it about 3 days ago.
So it's really new, probably.
Yeah, I mean, because here it is. So
I'm going to send a message to a couple guys here. This is pretty amazing. Pluto TV. So what do you think is going to happen to podcasting?
Nothing. It's going to be just part of the mix. Podcasters, the ones that are aggressive, will probably just incorporate it to something like this, provided their content is not time sensitive.
I'm thinking on a podcast, a better show would be just a 10-minute daily clip on some technology or some business technology. So the purpose of the podcast, you create maybe 3 or 4 at a time. And hey, Rob, I got a proposition for both of you guys.
What's that?
You want to do a test podcast?
Of what? I
know how to do all the backside of podcasting, getting up on Twitter and all that.
So Soul Broadcasting wanted to come in. He's asking. It's not my blab.
Come on in. You can come in. So here's my thought in podcasting. The top. I can't think of the name. I should know the name of the advertising company. They contacted me. Oh, hi, how you doing? Good. Yeah, it's going. So here's the story. Oh, I know the name of them, but I'm in contact right now with the people who market for podcasting, and the top 150 are all getting, $50,000 to $200,000 a month for marketing. You have a front roll, mid roll, and last roll. So if you guys want to do it, if we can put together a short, concise show, 10 minutes, and record 3 at a time, or record 7 at a time for a whole week, I could put them up every day at a certain time on a website. And then if you get 30,000 downloads, we probably make, with the commercials, I'd have to charge because just setting the commercials and doing all the other work. I have to charge a little bit because that takes a lot of time, but it's about $50,000 a month.
In cost?
But let me show you the shows that have succeeded doing that. The one show I'd model it after, it would have to be a business and technology, like how to make money with tech and business. I mean, let me Zenhome, Omar Zenhome. Do you know how Omar Zenhome is by any chance? I interviewed him. Most of these guys cracking the nut on.
So podcasting, your audio is garbled.
Say again. Commander, is it me?
No, Soul Broadcasting was talking, but the audio is real garbled.
You talking to Commander down below, podcasters?
Yes.
Yeah, Commander. What kind of mic are you using, Commander? Yeah, it's garbled. We need to get you one of those AT. I think in England you have to have a a 2005. They don't sell a 2100. They won't, for some reason, they don't ship them there. So you need to get that mic and plug it in the USB, and you'll have great sound.
Yeah, it sounds robotic, very digitized.
Yeah, just watch. You can't even hear you. So I just pushed it on.
Now, to answer your question, Bill, it looks like the Roku version came out in November.
That's soon. That's new.
And so iOS, Android TV, Nexus Player, Chromecast, the Chrome web app, the Amazon Kindle Fire, the Fire TV Stick, Roku, and Apple TV 4th generation are supported.
So what if we did if you put a few folks together, you did a show, that would be 10 minutes long and put out daily. But here's the show I'd model after the technology. I just put the link. Let's put the link in here. Damn, what did I do? Let me see if I can find my notes from the. It'll be in my mail.
No, this video is pretty clean. All right, so let's see.
Folks, this is towards the end of the show. What we're doing, Carlos, we're trying to get Carlos back on. We've learned some interesting things today about Pluto.
Yes, we have.
And Blab is social media. Oh, here we go. Is she gone? Podcasting. Blab is social media and live streaming. Yeah, that's right. That's what I'd say it is. It's both social media and live streaming. That's what it is. And Carlos is getting back. So, Carlos, have you done a podcast?
No, he's still not back.
So, one Saturday, one weekend, 2 times a week, we could produce 15 shows on a Saturday.
That's a lot.
15 shows with 3 people. What if it has to be good though. It has to be boom, 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 boom. It has to get a good sound, and it's got to be professional. And then it's got to be marketed. It's got to be pushed out there so people can find it. You know what I find is the iTunes crowd is completely different than the Blab crowd.
I'm changing resolution again.
The iTunes crowd, that's a good question. Is iTunes crowd different than Blab crowd? Who do you like better? What crowd do you like better?
I have done.
Who do you
podcasts.
like better? Blabbers? BL or blabbers? BLABBERS. Or this will be an interesting topic. I should be working on my courses right now, but I'm not. Who do you like better, blabbers or podcasters? How's that for a topic?
There you go.
You get the blabbers and the podcasters fighting back and forth. So, Carlos, who do you like better, blabbers or podcasters?
Say it again.
Who do you like better, blabbers or podcasters?
Personally, I like podcasters.
Really?
Yeah.
It's more produced, isn't it? Generally.
Well, it's most podcasters have because it's not a conversation, right? So that's part one. 2, podcast in a sense kind of just aims at it just being a bundle of a concise piece of content, usually about a specific topic, and there's no distractions. Now there are some podcasts where it's just a bunch of guys just chilling out and talking and shooting the breeze, and if you kind of like that, then that's cool, and that would end up being more like a blab. But usually, if you're listening to a podcast, it's because they're talking about a topic that you're interested in.
So here's the podcasts that make money. I just put them all up there. Those are the top ones. By the way, Grammar Girl is in Reno, Nevada, and she's in the top 150. She's making tons of money. She's a professor at the university. So these are all formulas that work. Every one of these works that you're looking at here.
Formulas that work, I mean...
That's what they are, the formulas. It's a formula. It's a system and a formula. It's called talent, engineering, and systems and processes. Yeah, and ways to get it out. Hollywood Handbook, Punk Podcasts. These are all the top 150 making big money girl, Get Fit Guy, Who's Chart. These are the top ones that all these have at least, probably 30,000 downloads. Improve Photography, Face Rocket, Webinar Ninja. I can't believe they're up here. I know. That's Omar Sinholm. Webinar Ninja.
All right, I'll right back.
That's just Webinar Ninja. They must have that just up there. Omar Zinholm, of course. Sex Nerd Sandy. Words or Less with Ray Heckens. The Ziegler Show is in the top, being marketed still. You've got, by the way, Westwood One has Podcasters One. Have you heard of that?
I have not.
Podcasting One is the competition to Midroll. And they've got, they're actually, I've met the owner, and that's the owner of Westwood One. Can't think of his name right now. I met him a couple times. What's his name? Here's Podcast One. We're getting a little echo there. First time we had echo today. So there is a podcast. There's Podcast One. That's another one to look at. Those are top shows too. Every one of those is a top show. You got the Laura Ingram Show, more top names. Art of Charm is on there. Wow. I've interviewed Art of Charm folks. So they're all getting marketed through youth. It's wow. Zoom is sponsoring some of this too.
Some of the blabs or the podcast?
Yeah, Zoom is a sponsor of Westwood One. They're marketing on their website.
I've got a meeting with them today at 3.
Westwood One. Let's do the show. Let's put together some kind of a tech show with the very best people, 10 minutes, 12 minutes each. Put them up daily. Get our sound right. Do it through Blab, or we could do it through Zoom. You want to do it on Zoom?
We could do that. Well,
I created a podcast on Zoom.
Who pointed at?
Let's test it. Let's make 3 or 4 on Zoom and test them.
Yeah.
I've got a test site called Politics of Success where you just throw up the crap and test it. Yeah, we could test it there.
Yeah. Well, Carlos now has a pro license.
A what license?
Zoom? A pro license. No. Yeah, a pro license for Zoom.
We could do it on Zoom. Anyway, I just set you guys where the money is in podcasting. Like Sex with Emily. Gosh, I've met like half these people. I've actually met them. She put on the shows. New Tech City. That's a nice simple. This is all the good artwork. Notice it's all square too. Three Guys with Tech. What would be the name of the show? Radio Lab is big. You got to look at those. So back here to, so those are the top 2 places to go. What if you want to look at success? This is what success looks like. Decode DC. There's one with circles. Oh, Rotten Tomato. That's a big one.
I'm going to refresh my browser.
The Smart People Podcast. A Zoom would be a good one to do it around Zoom. So why don't we create a podcast on Zoom? The sound would probably be pretty good.
The sound would be amazing on Zoom.
Why don't we use Zoom to test these? If you want to, I can I can do a test podcast today on Zoom. You want to do it? 3 of us do a 10-minute test one, and I'll put it up. I will put it up on iTunes in the next hour, and you can show it to the Zoom guy. How's that?
Well, I've got a meeting with Zoom literally in less than a half hour.
Let's do it right now. Just do a 5-minute show on Zoom.
I can do it after the Zoom call, but I can't do it before because I gotta shut down here in a few minutes. Just to
tell them we're going to do a Zoom podcast. I did a Zoom podcast once. I haven't put it up yet.
Okay.
But we'll do a podcast on Zoom, and we'll talk about what we want to talk about. And do it short, only 10 minutes. I'll put it up on one of my secondary shows, my feeds, RSS feeds.
Now, what's your Zoom meeting about, Rob? If it's not,
why don't you join us?
If you're
his Zoom. He knows the Zoom guy.
Rob, your meeting with Zoom, is it business or?
It's business, but it's about our corporate account. But I'm hoping to use that as an opportunity, because one of my good friends that works at Zoom in enterprise, I've tried to get him to do shows with me on Blab, and he's been like, yeah, it sounds like a great idea, and then he just doesn't get it. So
really? I guarantee if we do a podcast, he'll watch the podcast.
I mean, how do you not get it if you have Zoom?
I know. It's like
he gets video. He just doesn't get the social aspect. He's seeing it, trying to pitch it to, because he's an enterprise sales rep. So he's looking at it as, oh, well, I'm only interested if the company's going to have 500 employees or more. Because again, he's enterprise.
B2B.
Yeah. And so with his role, he can't sign up accounts that are less than 500 employees. That because he's an enterprise sales rep. So the guy that I'm meeting today is my company's Zoom rep, and he does, I think, 100 employees or less, which is like the beginning. So I fully intend to say, look, I've been a Zoom customer of yours for over a year, and there's tons of stuff for us to collaborate on, because if you're focused on 10 to 100 employee companies, number one, I am one, but number two, we're kind of fishing in the same pond, because there's going to be a lot of people within social media that do in fact have between 10 and 100 employees, right? So in addition to Zoom, there's the social media aspect. And, even for myself, I mean, the way that I conduct business is I'll do fun, goofy stuff and pitches here on Blab or something else. But if I was going to do brass tacks and pricing and stuff like that, I wouldn't use social media to do it. I would use something like Zoom. Because the video quality is far superior to WebEx or GoToMeeting. Plus, you can do a lot of things that those types of platforms can't do.
Well, I'm going to go. I did a short show on timelines on Zoom because I had problems with. I used it as a backup. I always wanted to try it, so I'm going to go dig that thing out. Maybe put it over on, edit it real fast and put it up. When we come back later on today after your meeting, Carlos, why don't you come back too and join us? And we'll do a Zoom test podcast. And you can show it to the Zoom people.
Now, Rob, you wanted to have a conversation also before. Did you wanted to do that too?
Yeah, it's quiet. Is that like the secret?
Sorry, I was reading. So I should be about 30 minutes with the Zoom guy. And then to Carlos's point, I wanted to have a conversation with him.
Okay.
So I would imagine, Carlos, will probably be an hour.
When you guys are done, just contact me. We'll do a quick Zoom podcast. I'll put it up today on an RSS feed.
Okay.
On iTunes. I'll put it on iTunes today.
Not yet.
You know what's really weird is my goofy count. No. Just a short little Zoom on iTunes. The three of us talking. Just put a 10-minute little Zoom on iTunes. We'll talk. Here, the topic for the show is, what could you do with Zoom with podcasting? That'll be the topic.
Okay.
Can you use Zoom to podcast? And that'll be our topic. See, if we did 10-minute shows every day, and we talked about technology like that, we talked about anything that would make money for people with technology and tools, I guarantee you'd have people watching. So we could call it like Think Tank or something like that. Think Tank Online.
Well, we'll say on my network, I did would like to have a tech show as well.
10-minute tech.
And all the tech episodes I've ever done, like instantly get like 3,000 hits.
Yeah.
And it's fun.
Here's what you do. You do a short 10-minute detailed tech session for iTunes, but then you open it up and go on for like a half hour and something else. You can bring people in, you can talk. So 10 minutes is like for podcast, and then 30 minutes of just discussion and bring other people with their questions in. That's not a bad format for a show. Three of us could do that. First 10 minutes. Look at the I think we're going to take off with that political show. You know, the way we do the 10 minutes. So we do a 10 minutes where we talk about it ahead of time, and we can cut it. We can turn it on for a minute and say, you talk, and I splice it together for iTunes. I'll do the splicing. Just test it. I mean, you have nothing to lose to test something.
I agree.
Honestly, I'm going to try to put up that. When we get done here, I'm going to go put that Zoom up that I made. I made one Zoom like a month ago, 2 months ago. I don't know why I did it, but it's a backup show for timelines. And I'm still looking for somebody tomorrow for the timeline show. Maybe the guy from Zoom would like to come on.
Well, I could ask, but let me shut it down now because I got a few minutes of prep work because I got to read.
Okay, I'll cut this up. Hey, thanks. Hey, just call me on my phone. You got my phone number, right?
Yeah, and then Carlos,
just call me on the phone. I'll find me wherever I am. I'll be around the house.
Okay. So Carlos,
hey,
I'll call you when I get off when I get off with Zoom, and then
okay. I'm going to go and edit that one show up. I'm going to email as soon as I get it up on iTunes. All right, bye.
All right. These are their.